welcome to Sarah's table. Finger guns, pew pew, pew pew pew.
Pew.
I know it's not Wednesday, which I think was on the bisexual agenda, Finger Guns Day, but
Hmm.
sort of always is. Hi everyone. My name is Sarah Moore. My pronouns are she, her. I'm going to be your host tonight, and your favorite person. I'm going to remind you to drink some water because I bet you are dehydrated. Good job, everybody. Um, And I have a guest tonight, and we are going to chat about The Crown, and the future of the franchise. It's maybe going to be a franchise now. Shh. The property, I guess, and then
Yeah.
also what we're doing with formerly Feral Games. So why don't you introduce yourself, Damon?
My name is Damon Vanhee. My pronouns are he, him, and I am on the show.
Good, thank you. That was
Thanks.
excellent.
Thanks for having me
Um,
again.
thanks for coming on. Um, yeah, so. Why don't you catch us up as to
Hmm.
where we are at in the process of our first game, which is the Crowned.
Hmm.
Where are we at in its life?
Hmm. It- well, it's out. The book
We did it.
exists. That's the
We
big
did
one.
it.
You can buy
Yeah,
it.
you can buy
Um,
it.
it's a real book. See, it's a real thing. It's all printed and everything. We're printing through Drive Through RPG.
Mhm. I
And
just threw a link
it's
in the chat as well if
yeah.
people don't have it yet.
And it's yeah, publicly available. We've got the Kickstarter almost entirely fulfilled at this point. There's still a couple of stragglers that are out there that aren't responding to their emails, and so I cannot yet send them books.
Yeah, if you are watching this right now, um,
If that's you,
respond to your email, please.
check your emails,
We
please.
we want to send you the book. It exists and it's sitting
Yeah, got it set
in
aside for
Caldia
all of the stragglers
Studio.
that are there. Yeah,
It's just hanging out. Yeah. So here's a question that I
okay.
have for you. First of all, folks who are watching, if you guys have questions about literally anything, mainly the Crowned or formerly Feral Games, we also like just stuff. Like, what if you have questions for me or for Damon, like, please, I gestured up. You are not above me on the screen,
You were to the side for me. You're over there.
but like on my Zoom chat, you are above me. So I gestured up because that
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense. Good job,
You're
me.
the other direction on my phone though, but then
Cool, cool, cool,
on
cool, cool, cool.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, if you have a question for either of us about anything, please put it in chat and we are going to be checking it out today. Oh, we already got one. What is the next to add to the Crowned RPG world? We actually prepped for this exact question,
Yeah,
and we did not feed Vortak this question prior to coming in.
it's true.
Although, if we were going to have a plant in the audience, Vortak it would be an excellent. You want to take this one, Damon? Of what we're looking at
Yeah.
releasing next?
So there's a few things that we want to do kind of all at the same time, and I think the biggest struggle for me at least has been to properly order them and get them into any kind of priority list. But next coming out is we're going to be expanding what it means to have a familiar within the game.
Mhm.
You can have a familiar very easily. It's really cheap to purchase for your character, but they don't really do a ton. Both Sarah and I really love familiars and that concept and how it works. And we did not put all of our thoughts into the main book because there were too many of them. So that's going to be the first thing that we do is expand how familiars work within the game. They'll be better in combat. You can have more of them, a bunch of other extra wonders and stunts for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very immediately next.
Yes, that is the next thing. And then we
Yeah.
also have coming up a what will eventually be a series of 10 modules, one set in each area of the city, called the Shining. garden tourism guide. And so
That's
there
the
will be
one.
something set in each of the 10 sections of the city, and you'll be able to, if you play all the way through, you'll be able to level your character all the way up to the highest divinity level that we have currently mapped out.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
that one will be fun. Each district will just have one module, and then it'll be two modules per power level.
yeah, we've already sort of started mapping out. There's going to be NPCs that come with that if you decide that you,
Mm.
or not NPCs, but like pre-generated characters that you can use should you decide that like you don't want to use your own characters that you build. Although I
Yeah.
love building characters, so I feel like this is
It's one of the reasons that one shots are really hard to do in this
yeah,
because everybody has so much fun building their character and taking a good chunk of time out of their time at the table to do so. Really, one shots turn into twos or three shots often because they're just
yeah,
it's fun. The characters are just really
yeah.
fun to make. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that's sort of something that happens with me anyway. Like, where I'm just like, I mean, there's more story. I could do more story. You guys want more? And then I end up in more, more places. Um, Another question from Vortec. Plans for a higher divinity than five.
Um, so we tried a higher divinity because everything in the book goes to 10 basically. There's 10 of everything, and the fact that divinity only went until 5 vexed me greatly throughout
It
the course
did.
of
It
of
did.
writing the book. Um, but you already start like at Divinity 1, you're already pretty powerful. Like
Yeah.
you're playing a god, no matter what level it is, you know. But everything multiplies in this game. So by the time you get to Divinity 4 and Divinity 5, like you're strong enough already to just rip the city apart. Um, it's really just the threat from the other gods that live there that keep you
To
from
stop you
doing
from doing it.
so. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
like Divinity 5, it's crazy powerful. But I, maybe we could maybe go a little higher. I thought when we were doing it that when we tested much higher than that, it became somehow more narrative driven than the game
Yeah.
already is. Because you're just so powerful at that point, you know. And especially if you're playing with a group of players and you can do things like rituals where you pool your aether together for to do even bigger things. You know, you can potentially triple, quadruple kind of the output that
Yeah.
your spells would normally have. So going above 5 is
Well, and I
wow.
feel like if we were to go above five, that we would have to generate like so many more
Hmm.
wonders and things because you would have so many extra
Yeah.
XP to sort of like to do
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Really
think
the
that's
the thing that I think makes the players feel powerful is having more wonders, though. So having like more stunts and tricks and things that they've purchased. Higher level divinities really just transfer to more like more resources for you to pull on.
mhm.
But I think some of the fun in the game comes from kind of balancing a resource and having too many of that might throw off gameplay a little bit too.
I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll have to play test it.
Oh no.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Cool. I see hello friends all in chat. There are 22 of you, which is delightful. If anybody has any other questions, please don't hesitate to put them in that chat. Um, let's do just a quick catch up. What's been going on with you as a human, Damon? How are things? Like, what do you
Oh,
got going on?
I mean, good. I guess my human parts are good. I'm currently
Do you
building
have non-human parts? Like,
uh listen, that's private.
okay, sorry, my
Mm,
fault.
yeah, I mean I have fillings, I guess.
That's fair.
Those Those aren't human, probably.
Oh,
Um, well, yeah.
that dude is not a
I
dentist that you go to, my man.
he's cheap though.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah. So I've been helping to build a cyclorama stage, which is a green screen stage in Chaldea Studios. So I've been doing that forever. Because it turns out those are pretty complicated to put together,
Yeah,
but it's going to
and big.
be really big. Yeah, it's very big. The stage is 20 foot by 20 foot by 6 foot by 10 feet high. And then all of the floor is green as well. Like it's giant. And then once it's done, it'll be one of those stages where you don't see the corners and the edges of anything. So for any of the actors that are standing on it, it'll just be like a void that they're in.
Mm.
Um, but that is going mostly well. It's crazy hot now in Seattle, so that like cuts down our work time because it gets pretty warm in the studio. So
Sure.
means we go in really early and then work on that. And then the rest of my time almost entirely is playing games the past couple of weeks and this coming week. So
That
it's
sounds awesome.
pretty good all around. What about you, Sarah? What's going on with you?
Um,
Tell
I
us
mean,
everything.
to everything. There's lots of games, I have a bunch of stuff coming up. Kind of bopping around to other people's channels over the next couple of days and doing things, which is cool. Um, I'm like almost exclusively running, just
Hmm.
running everywhere. Although I do get to play mouse guard, and I am in love with my little mouse. Uh, he should not be on the mission. He went on the mission because he really wants to be in the mouse guard, and he is not actually in the mouse guard. So he's currently
Yeah.
wearing a flower as a hat. Um,
I
and
feel
it's
like he's gonna
just,
get eaten by a bird.
yeah, yeah, or something. I mean, he ran full force into just like a fox was there, and he was just like, I got this, and just like they they made sure he didn't
Precocious.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
just excited. Um, That's fine. He's who I get to play this this coming week.
Great.
Yeah, but just like personally, I know I've talked about it a little bit on my socials, but like I'm I've got hearing aids now. Testing out hearing aids, which I didn't realize how much I was not hearing. Like I mean, obviously I knew I couldn't hear everything, but like the world is really loud.
Yeah.
It's really loud.
You could always
Like
just pop those out.
yeah, yeah.
There's a
I mean,
lot going on.
I don't have them in now because I have my earbuds in so that I can hear you on the computer. But like the other day we were doing something and I walked out of my bedroom and I was like, "Oh, someone left the TV on." They had not. It just was really loud. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, well."
Just
Um,
regular earth noises.
just regular earth noises. Yeah. So that's sort of been the big one around here is that I've been sort of trying to adjust to that.
Mhm.
But I hope that that will make things easier for me at like conventions and stuff because it is very loud at those places and I usually have a hard time hearing things.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
You're doing it though.
I'm
Yay.
doing it. Yeah. Another question from chat is what kinds of things will familiars add to the game?
Sarah, do you want to
Excellent
answer?
question. I mean, I feel like we are in the process of developing all of the things, but we want the I think the biggest thing is that we want the familiars to be able to do things in combat, as well as sort of add to things that you are doing in rotes. Like I feel like there will be a mechanic where we can like when you are doing a rote, which in our game is like your divine
Mhm.
spells. We don't have a spell list. You build everything that you are doing with your divine magic. Yeah, everybody just wants to like mix their familiar and everything. And
Yeah.
I get that. I want to do that too. And so like I think we are expanding that so that they can help you and do things, maybe even have potentially like they would also act on your turn in like a lower capacity. They obviously will not have access to all of your god powers, but like they might be able
Yeah.
to do
And
something.
narratively, at least when I run it, familiars are a part of you, like literally a part of your divine essence becomes this little buddy that then
Hmm.
can run around and do things, you know? And so I think expanding what you are able to do with that as a concept, so like reaching through your familiar when they are not near you, you know, using them as a battery or like a lodestone or you know something like that, a
Hmm.
lightning rod, even like ways to augment what you're able to do when you run with the concept of having part of you like be over there, you
Yep.
know.
Yeah. I also sort of see them a little bit like how droids are used in the Star Wars universe, and like that they can do things independently. Like you can send them out on missions and have them do a thing sort of independently. Um, but we have always said that there's a chance that they will decide not to do it. Like that we could like you could send them out to be like, please go do this, and they would be like, aye, aye, and then they would maybe not do it
But get
on the
distracted,
way.
you know,
Yeah.
especially if you're like, depending on what your purview is, that's going to obviously influence the behaviors of your familiar, you know, like if you are the god of like distraction, it's probably going to
Oof.
be pretty hard to get your familiar to focus on anything, you know?
Yeah, it's also
Um,
probably pretty hard to get you to focus on anything, though, if you're the god of
yes. So
distraction.
maybe you just never even send them out to do anything because you can't pay attention for that long.
I do think it would be funny if the god of distractions familiar is the one that could be like, "Hey, buddy, back at back on the
Yeah.
clock. Here we go."
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay,
good.
sorry.
That would be good. Yeah.
It's just
It's
like
like a
the
it's like
god of
having a
distract.
service dog. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like there
yeah.
to make sure you're calm and everything is okay.
In my head, it was a combination service dog and like planner to be like, "Hey, man, you're
Yeah.
supposed to be at this appointment right now.
It just points at itself because it's yeah.
Pay attention." I mean, it just like flies in front of his face and opens, and it's like, "Here you go. Here's where we go."
Here's all the things that you need. Yeah. And then there would probably be
Yeah.
more guidelines in there for the storyteller and for players for like how to add extra personality into, you know, role playing with a familiar and treating the familiar as something more than like a just like an object that you keep in your pocket, you know?
Hmm.
I mean, unless of course your familiar is literally an object to keep in your pocket. But the
Hmm.
point is, it's like they should have more, I don't want to say agency because you're still like the player is still the one controlling them,
In
but just like
control. Yeah.
yeah, there's just like I think it would be cool if they had more personality, you know, like
Yeah.
more stuff for them to do, more ways for them to behave and interact with the world and the game.
Can familiars be objects? Absolutely.
Yeah.
They would still be pretty sentient, but you can decide if they can move on their own or if like if you have to take them with you. I don't know that I've had anybody who hasn't had a familiar that could like move on their own, but sometimes those things are like this is a sentient bucket and it just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like floats along behind me whenever I need something. Um,
Yeah. One of the
or
games that
it
I'm
has
running right
wheels on
now,
it or something.
yeah, one of the players has a living bowling pin for a familiar. The wood is just
Hmm.
alive and it's got like a little face on it, but it can't move on its own. Like she picks it up and
Mm,
carries it everywhere.
interesting.
Um, I guess it could roll, but they're kind of, you know,
Wow, it would take a
weirdly
while. They'd have to
shaped.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, it would wobble
yeah.
along.
Or could do just like the, you know, kind of the cartoon hop, like kind of bend the neck and
Hmm.
then like jump and
Boop,
kind of like
boop.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
she just carries
a
it.
god with some mechanical influence has a metal spider creature. Yeah, I don't even think they didn't need to have mechanical influence. That is definitely something that can happen, but I think nothing is really off the table. They can figure out if you
Hmm.
can explain why you think your familiar would be a certain material, it's totally it you can do it. One of the things that's in the book, there is a bar in the Shining Garden called the Glasshopper, because the god of glass has a familiar that is like a grasshopper the size of like a house cat, but it's made out of glass. So, so it makes sense that it would be made out of glass because it is the god of glass, but like, why a grasshopper? What? Because that's what made sense to him. So it's a
Yeah,
grasshopper that's made out of glass, you know? I mean, obviously it's because the grasshopper is a fun name to say. It's very fun.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like that is definitely something that you could just make up. The God of
yeah. The
Joy's familiar is a little rainbow that just like floats around above
Yeah,
her, or she
you get to
wears.
design whatever you want it to look like and whatever you want it to be made out of. And generally speaking, like if you decide it has wings, then it can fly. You know, you don't have to
Yeah,
pay for anything extra for that. It's really just another way for the players to um, like really focus on customizing their character, designing the aesthetic behind, their theme and their god and all of that. So familiars are very helpful for that, I think.
I agree. All right, Damon, I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. What is the pie in the sky goal for formerly Feral Games? Like,
Hmm.
if everything goes the best it can possibly go that you want, like, where do you see us in the next like 5 years?
I think it would be great to continue to be able to produce content,
Mhm.
both in the Crown as kind of like a tentpole property for the company, but then I mean, I've got a couple of other things that I'm sort of kicking around and working on that are separate from the Crown that I think would be
Mhm.
very cool to be part of Formerly Pharaoh Games. We will see how that all shakes out. But like if it is entirely up to me, it is a thing that like we could continue to create under and it would make us some money to help us do that. I'm not uh thinking that I'm going to get at all rich off of any of this
Sure.
stuff, but it would be kind of cool for it to pay for itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that is the thing that I would like. I would like for this creative process that we're doing to be able to pay for itself.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned a couple of other projects that you have sort of kicking around.
Yeah.
You want to talk about those a little?
Sure, I can do that. There's a
There
there's
was a
a
part of me that
D&D
expected you to be
setting.
like, no, thank you. And then
Pass. Yeah, you said it was a hard question and I don't like homework and so no. Um
You're right. My mistake.
Yeah. So there was a setting that I very briefly ran a D&D campaign in. Sarah, you were in that.
I
Um,
was.
yeah. It was a weird, very strange setting and the game did as games do, and scheduling arrived as the bad guy, and we had a TPK, and so the game was over. But I have
Mm-hmm.
pages and pages and pages of notes for that setting. And I had like there were new classes to play, new ancestries, like all kinds of new stuff for it was originally written in fifth edition. But then we stopped playing. Maybe that's a good one to circle back to. I really liked the setting and the things that we did. Um,
Yeah.
and I would like to keep playing in that world. Um,
Yeah, I really liked my character for that one. I got to play a mimic.
Yeah.
She was very cool.
If you can play a changeling, like there's no reason you can't play a mimic. It's the same thing.
Agreed.
It's just
Yep.
items instead of people. So that's one of the new ancestries that was in there was playable mimics. They looked like people though, like their default form was humanoid, so you didn't have to be a chair or anything like that. Um,
But it was very fun to turn into an armor. That was very fun. I did like doing that.
yeah, yeah. It's a very ridiculous ancestry. Like
Yeah.
when you turn into an
Yeah.
object, you still have a movement, but it drops to five. So you can
Yep.
kind of hop a little bit if you decide to be an
Boop, boop.
armoire.
Like sort of like I used to my
That little
character
wobble.
when she went to sleep, she would turn into a like a treasure chest. And that was
Mhm.
like her it's nap time. Like, here we
Yeah.
go. And turn into a treasure chest, which was always very funny then to unturn into one when you wake up.
Yeah. But yeah, but this one was called it was called the Green Heart Cluster, and it took place in space. It took, set on a moon, and in this setting, it was a main planet that had a bunch of moons that were all tied to it with giant ropes that you could climb up, big enough to that people have little outposts along them on the ways up. And then yeah, we'll keep exploring that one, I think. And then the other one
Yeah.
is my Pathfinder game of a long time has morphed into sort of another system. And that system that we just like we kind of outgrew what Pathfinder was offering us. Like our GM has been thrown the craziest of things in it, and we were quickly scaling towards like superhero levels of power. And so we just made a new system for that, and it turned out to be really, really good. I'm always convinced we're going to have a TPK. It like really runs that line of danger and safety, and
It's
probably going to
rad.
be writing that one too.
Great.
Yeah.
Question from chat. Will the modules be free-formed with a basic outline for GMs or specific stories to guide characters through?
So for the Shining Garden travel guide, tourism guide, oh
Tourism,
boy, we got to
tourism
write
guide.
that name down. I'm so bad at it.
I have
It's
written it down so many times. You have to look at the lists.
I
I've
have to
written
just
it
like
down.
write it on my hand every time I have to talk about it. So whatever we're
Okay,
calling
okay.
that thing is
Got
going to
it.
have it's going to be sort of in the middle, like players are always going to be unpredictable and they're always going to do stuff that you're not ready for or you didn't expect. And they're going to go off book no matter what. Even more so in a game like this, where like combat is often resolved in my games by the players just like launching whoever it is into space.
Hmm.
Like you're gods. You're going to solve all of these problems in constantly unanticipated ways.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit of both. They are going to be like like a good story driven module where it does have beats along the way and things that will be happening. But it's also going to come with guidelines for the storyteller for when things are starting to veer away and like how to lead your players either back if you want or away if you want. It's this game inherently is about choice and agency and getting to do what you want to do. And so even if that means going off book from a module, there's going to be world building in there, which will help any game setting and NPCs and stuff like that. So you can use them straight as they're written and just go through the story, or it can just be more things to add to the lore at your table.
Do we want to reveal the secret about that tourism
I'll
guide?
I'll leave that up to you if you want to.
Mm. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say it because I'm excited about
Okay.
it.
Okay. Do it. Do it.
There is going to be a thing that if you play through all 10 modules, there will have been stuff that you can collect, information that you can collect along the way that will inform an 11th module. But you will have
Yeah.
had to have done all the other 10 in order to do it, which I'm super jazzed about. I'm already like
Yeah.
laying it out. It's a
I
thing.
think I think the main structure will be like we have been talking about like releasing these modules in like their bare bones forms, like on
Hmm.
drive through for a couple of bucks or something like that, you know, and they would be very art light, but they would be fully written and laid out as far as you know, like editing and page layouts, stuff like that.
Yeah, it'll be
But
like
that
it'll be easy to read. It won't be like a
yeah, it won't be super pretty, but it'll be easy to read and use, you know. And
yeah.
then uh potentially then have a Kickstarter at the end of whenever those are finished. That would be for illustrating the book, getting the book out, and also doing the 11th module, like Sarah was talking about. And so, I mean, that book would easily end up being 200 or 300 pages worth of module, and extra
Yeah.
material and things like that. So I
Yeah,
think it
because
would be
each
a
module is
good
probably
addition.
10 to 15 pages. That's
Yeah, at least.
that you can get through it.
Yeah. And then the whole thing, if like the whole thing together would, like you said before, it would take your characters from like beginning level up through a much higher level if you wanted to. You know, you don't have to necessarily make those jumps as indicated. We're still going to have it's really easy for the storyteller to scale things up and down as far as like the
Yeah.
monsters are concerned. So you should be able to do the modules at any level technically, but we are writing them with certain divinity levels in mind. So
Yeah,
if
with the
you're
idea
running it, you'll
that
have to
you
scale it
have
around.
like, well, with the idea that if you buy this, regardless of what divinity level your table is at, there will be at least two modules in there that you can run.
Yeah.
So and like we said, they will be available separately prior to that Kickstarter. And so, like, if you're like, well, I'm only going to be running level fours, that's it, that's what I'm doing, then there are two modules that will be coming out eventually that you can grab and play with no scaling involved. Like you could
Mhm.
just pick up and play it. Um, although I don't know that this is a very pick up and play sort of game. I understand that there's a little bit of a heavier lift on this one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. For the storyteller, not for the players, but for the
correct.
storyteller, it's definitely there's a lot to juggle when you're the storyteller, you know, because you have to be able to run with the insanity that the players are going to bring to the table, you know, because
Which is
we've had
probably a lot.
yeah, it's always a lot. You know, we've had probably 200 characters made for this game, close to that at this point, between all of our play testing and stuff like that. And there's never been a duplicate. Like
Yeah.
every player has come up with a new concept every single time. And at no point have I or Sarah steered them away from choosing something that has already been duplicated. Like we just let them pick. And it's been
Yeah.
unique ideas every time, which is wild to me. I thought for sure we would have some copies, but we don't, which
Yeah.
is great. But that
And people
means,
tend to not use the examples. Like
yeah.
I try at the table to give like two concrete examples of like tactile things and then two sort of more
Mhm.
conceptual examples. And I have started trying very hard to say ones that are not in use, like that that we're not using currently, that aren't already in the book, whatever. So I can just be like, hey, here's a couple of examples. And no one ever picks the example. They're like, okay, cool. Well, those four are clearly not ones I'm gonna look at. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. I like how madcap things can get. You know, that does mean that the storyteller needs to be ready for that, at least
Yeah.
to some degree. You know, like it's not a thing that is going to be game breaking or crush any storyline that you're working on if the players go off book and try something new and interesting. But we do have guidelines in the core book for how to, you know, bring that back in focus sometimes.
Um, Frank said, we are dedicated nonconformists. We never follow the examples. Thanks, Frank.
Perfect.
Um, yeah, it looks like we have a decent amount of people hanging out with us right now. Is if we want to give away a digital copy of the game,
Mhm.
um, to somebody in the chat. So please, please participate in the chat so that we have have you as an option. Because can't give it to you if we don't have your name popping up in chat. Some stuff. Give us some
Yeah.
love in the chat. All right. Well, Damon, do you have any questions for me?
Oh,
I'm
about the
gonna give
crown?
you some
hmm
homework.
hmm hmm I should have come
I mean,
prepared with questions. I
I
didn't.
guess it doesn't have to be about the crown. It could be about Formerly Feral. It could be about
Hmm.
my other stuff that I have going on.
What do you want formerly feral to look like down the road? Ready, go.
Lots of stuffed animals.
hmm
Maybe some candy and some rainbows and some cupcakes. That'd be cool. I'd like all of those things.
Okay,
Um,
great.
uh, yeah, no, I would love to have, I would, I would love for it to be paying us maybe what we're worth, not necessarily like making a bunch of money,
Yeah,
like obviously we know that this is not a get rich situation, but like you and I put a lot of work into this game already, and I know we're going
yeah,
to continue to because we have a lot of ideas. And I would love for it to sustain itself the way you were talking about it, but also I think sustaining itself also means like being able to pay everybody who is working on it. Because I know that it was really big deal for the two of us to make sure that like we paid our artist and we paid our layout artist and we paid our
yeah,
editor and like we've been paying folks that are not us. Because we keep being like, oh, just not us though. We want to just get this out. And I think it would be good to also pay us.
yeah. Turns out it's really expensive to make a book.
Yeah.
And it was a self-funded thing. Kickstarter basically is just like a pre-order system at
Yeah.
this point where it's not really about getting the money to make the thing a reality. Kickstarter now is more just like, well, let's cover some print costs and some
Mm-hmm.
shipping
Mm-hmm.
and see what that is like. Um, so yeah, it's basically self-funded. The Kickstarter that we did covered a few things, but not a lot. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like any sales that we have of the book now, anything that comes into Formerly Feral currently is going back into the Crown to just keep working on the next thing. I don't remember who I
Yeah.
was talking to, but somebody said that like the first book doesn't make money until your third book is out,
Yeah.
which is really, really daunting.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a lot of notes. Like I've run this world for years and years. There's pages and pages and binders full of stuff. So there's
And
tons
more
of
stuff that you
content.
haven't written down.
Yeah.
Lots of things still swirling around in your brain.
Yeah. There's so much content that I have that I would love to get out to everybody. But then money though. So that's
Yeah.
where things are.
I mean, I think this is maybe a good transition to talk about we have been kicking around this week, the idea of maybe getting a Patreon going
Yeah.
because you have so much lore in there that sort of doesn't fit in a lot of other places. Like you have built out a lot of bits of the city that,
Yeah. It's hard to like find a place, like a justifiable place for that type of lore within a book. And
yeah,
in the settings section that we have, I have like some notable figures and places and things. But there's only three or four of those per district that's listed, and it's like just a couple of paragraphs, and like there aren't really maps there. And on one hand, we wanted to keep it as setting light in some capacity, so you could at your table really flesh out what that means.
right.
But also on the other hand, people really love lore, and I would
Yeah,
love to give it to more people, but so
yeah,
many things like you were saying is just a couple of paragraphs. Like I happen to know some backstory for this NPC that is really interesting, but I have no idea where it would go in a regular book. So I think like a Patreon is a good setting for that because then the people who are interested in getting things like that and like specific items and new locations and maps and all those things, like Patreon
yeah.
can be. can be a good source for those.
Frank says, Damon, good news is that once it is out there, it becomes a revenue stream to support you while you develop the next item. Yeah, that's what we're
Yeah,
talking about doing. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
yeah. I would
Um,
like to be able to just do this full time instead of doing this full time and also doing something else full time.
yeah, yeah. But Peter, if you're watching this, not your stuff though. We'll definitely still do your stuff.
Yeah, we love
Um,
you.
Vortec wants to know, will you have new cities or settings to apply the crown to? Yeah, there are 9 other cities
Yeah,
in
because of course there are, because there's 10
because there
total
are
of
because then
everything
there's
in this
10
world.
cities,
Yeah.
which we have sort of mapped out on our big to-do list of like that we will be developing those to send out as other places that you can play. Um, Settings, we also have a big list of like I think this would be great as like a supers game. Like we could do a hack for
Yeah.
it and like a Western and like um so we've definitely thought about all of that with our system that we have created. Um
Yeah, the
yeah,
mechanics lend themselves really, really well to like free form narrative play, even if you're not playing gods. Just like the way the dice roll, the way wonders function, like it's a very solid storytelling aid. So if it's
yeah,
something that you want to tack on to a game that you already have, like we might be doing, one of the first things we might be doing also is like a fifth edition hack, I guess. Not really a hack, but it would be a bridge to add
yeah.
some of the crowned materials supporting kind of upper level play for D&D as well as like going beyond level 20 or so many characters goals in a D&D game is to become a god or so many
Hmm.
stories and that direction anyways. Like this would be a resource that you could take the crown and just layer that on top of your already ongoing fantasy game of your choice or other game really.
Another game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, let's chat about what's going on over at Castleton on Winter's Tales,
Yeah.
with some of our rules.
Yeah, so AJ Winters is running Castleton. If you're unfamiliar with it, it is a she pitched it to me as Bridgerton plus Hunger Games, but D&D. And
Yeah.
so that's what they're doing. And she kind of put an open call to content creators and TTRPG creators, got over 150 volunteers. It's more than
It's so many
120
people.
players. Yeah, it's so many people. And so over on her channel, Winter's Tales, they're doing it every Saturday, and it's like a 6 hour show. But there are some of the players are playing mortals, some are playing demigods, and there's even a couple like proper gods that are being played. And they're using a variation of the crowned mechanics to make all of that stuff work. So I wrote a couple specific rules for Castleton and about how those demigods could use their powers and on, but it's all based on the crown mechanics and it's working really well. So
Yeah.
I'm over there, I'm writing story content and also in charge of the god mechanics.
Yeah, and I feel like that is sort of a perfect use case for like a Patreon kind of thing
Mhm.
is that we can be like releasing stuff that you could use that use our mechanics, but could flavor your D&D table if you wanted.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I think it's a pretty system agnostic situation that we have with the crown. I think it's an easy
Yes.
thing to layer parts of it into different games, and like obviously playing the crown for what it is great and there's the setting in there and everything like that. But like you don't have to have an advanced tech game to be playing with these mechanics.
Yeah.
The concepts behind your Aether pool and wonders and how the dice system works, just that as a base foundation, um, will port into other games really, really easily, I think.
Yeah. I think maybe now is a great time to do like a bio break.
Okay.
Um, And everybody can go, I have been drinking water. I need to use the little DM's room.
Hmm.
And I'm going to
The lowercase
go
DM's room.
lowercase DM's room. I'm going to gonna go take a little bio break, maybe grab a little snack. And I think it
Hmm.
would be great to meet everybody back here in, I don't know, like 5-ish minutes, 5 to 10.
Yeah,
How do
sounds
we feel
good.
about that? Feel good?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna just out we go. We're back. We
We
did
did
it.
it.
Big thumbs up. You looked like you were maybe frozen, which made me laugh a little bit that you were just like, I'm here.
Yeah, I
Here
just
I
sat
am.
still. Yeah, not a thing I usually do, sitting still.
No, you're usually um pretty animated because you're like a little neurospicy. But
Oh, thanks.
you're welcome.
It's called flavor, brain
Yeah,
flavor.
brain flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my brain flavor. What's your brain flavor? Hey, let's talk about maybe the conventions that we have coming
Oh,
up
yeah.
for formerly feral. Where will we be together
Well,
or separately?
I will be at Gen Con
Same.
next. You will be at Gen Con. We don't have like an official formally feral games, like we don't have a booth or anything like that. But like we'll be around wandering around the convention. So if you're there and you've got copies that you want us to sign or anything, we could do that if you see us. Sarah's going to be
Also,
easy to spot.
why
Also,
would you say that?
you have a brand, and that brand is bright colors and rainbows and poofy things. And so
Hmm.
you're very easy to spot from across the room. It's why you don't get lost in a crowd. Um,
Sure.
yeah, but we'll be at the Gen Con TV booth. We'll
Mm-hmm.
be there. That might be the easiest place to find us.
And we copies of The Crown are being sold at the Zombie Orpheus Entertainment booth.
That's right, they are. Yes, at booth 100, I think. I think their copies will be at the main booth that they have there. So that will
And
be
then you can
good.
find us.
You can buy a copy, come find us. We will sign that copy, and then it's
I
worth
always have
more.
multiple colored pens,
Hmm.
so we can pick a colored pen. I have in within reach at this moment, I have pink and teal and black and purple.
I don't have pens at all near me.
That's okay because we will probably be near each other. So you can use I
Perfect.
will let you use all of my colored
I'm
pens.
going to fly into Chicago, get to your house, borrow some pens, and then
Mm-hmm.
I will go to
Mm-hmm.
the convention.
Mm-hmm. It seems wise and probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then after Gen Con, what do
After
you,
Gen Con.
I only have one more for the year, and it's PAX Australia.
Yeah. I think that's it. Oh, okay. So before PAX Australia, I think I'm going to be at Fan Expo in Chicago, which I think is the weekend after
After
Gen
Gen
Con.
Con. Hmm.
So, crossing our fingers that no one gets sick from Gen Con. Um, I will be at Fan Expo. And then we are going, I'm manifesting this out into the world. We are
Hmm.
going to Australia for PAX Australia. Um, we've already both signed up or been asked to be on a panel,
Yeah,
sort of game situation. So I mean, we have to go. Like,
we have to go now. Yeah.
we wouldn't want to let anybody down. Um,
And actually, I might be going to PAX regular, whatever the one in Seattle is. I don't know what it's actually called because its name
West,
changes all the time.
PAX
Um,
West
but I might be popping into that one for a day because it is happening on my birthday.
on your
So maybe I'll
birthday.
treat myself and go to PAX.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's nice when I don't have to fly to a convention, when I can just like
Sure.
take a bus downtown and it's right
Mhm.
there.
Is that what we're gonna do for PAX Australia? Just take a bus
Take a bus. Yes, correct.
to PAX Australia?
Yes,
Cool. Cool, cool,
there
cool.
is no flaw in this plan.
I think it's great. And I've been doing much better. I have, for folks watching at home, I have a pretty bad travel anxiety. Um, but I think it's probably going to be fine for PAX Australia, and probably Damon will not have to put up with
I mean,
a panic attack for 14 hours.
honestly, international flights are so much better than domestic flights. So
Hmm.
They're just better. The planes
Mm-hmm.
are more comfortable, even if
Mm-hmm.
you're just flying like regular. I mean, I only ever fly regular, but
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
um a peasant class, if you will. Um, so when you're
Sure.
flying peasant, even that international is better,
Yeah.
in my
It's been a really
opinion.
long time since I have flown international. Like really, pre-marriage, pre-children.
Mm.
Like I have not, I've only flown domestically since. And prior to like my anxiety about traveling didn't kick off until after I had kids, which is really interesting. I don't know why that happened, but we'll see what happens. Maybe
You'll be
it'll be like
fine.
when we flew to Vegas for TwitchCon and I just cried the whole time.
I think it'll be different from that because I don't know that you could cry for like 14 hours without passing out.
Oh, interesting challenge you've thrown down.
Like I feel like you would get dehydrated to the point of exhaustion and just like tip over.
All right, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Either way, I'm ready for it. So
Great, great. Anyway, we're gonna go. I don't think we can bring books. I think it'll be too difficult to like
yes.
travel.
However, Drive Through RPG just opened an Australian print location
Oh,
like a month ago or something. So if we see like ample evidence for a want for the books, I can always print some there and maybe ship them to AJ's house. I don't know because we're going to
we are
be going
staying
there
with
first.
AJ.
Yeah, we're going to be going there first in order to record an arc of the Crown. It's going to be like a 3 or 4 episode situation. So we're going to land and then film for 3 days straight and then go straight to the
No
convention.
sleeping.
None.
No sleeping. Who needs it? Sleep is for other people?
No, sleep is for the productive.
Mm. You don't get it's a reward for being
Yeah,
productive. I
yeah,
see. Okay. I'm I'm in for that.
yeah.
That's not true.
No?
I
All right.
just fall asleep. Like I just fall asleep. Like I,
That's great. It's an
I
enviable
try really
trait.
hard not to, but like it just my body just goes, "Hey, we're just gonna shut off for a
Just
minute." And then I
powers
just
down.
yeah. Um
Yeah, I do not have that talent.
yeah. I would give it to you if
I
I
mean, I can
could.
fall asleep easily once per day. And so it has to be when I'm going to bed. Because
Uh-huh.
otherwise, if I'd like take a nap in the middle of the afternoon and I wake up
Then
at
it's all done.
5:30, that's it. I have slept for that day. And my
You did
body no
it.
longer cares about sleep, even if it's like a 20-minute thing. So I just can't nap. Naps are out to get me. So I have to
Yeah.
pass on that.
Um, Vortek, what is the name of the local convention in February? Because you want to set up crown sessions. Is that like you want us to come out and set up crown sessions or like you want to set them up? Total con. That feels final.
Complete.
That's all of the cons.
All convention.
Total con. Boop 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 boop.
Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up. Total conduct. Welcome to total confusion. Is that real? Is that the right? That can't be it. Total Con 2024. Yeah, in
We'd have to go in
mm,
2025. He says it's from February.
oh,
We
oh
missed it for
Lord.
this year.
I'm sorry. I don't understand how dates work. February 2025 in Marlborough, Massachusetts.
I
Oh,
don't think we've
cool.
planned anything for 2025 yet, other than the standards, Gary Con, Gen Con, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm
Cool
in.
though. Yeah, that sounds dope. I would love to do that. Just need to figure out how that happens. Um, yeah, that sounds dope. We love total confusion in February.
And I have not spent any time really in Massachusetts. I had a layover once that was enough time for lunch, and that was about it.
Um, yeah, I have never been. I drove through it to an island. Um, we went to a friend's wedding that was on a little tiny island off the coast of Massachusetts. Um, and like we had a message that was like, "Hey, she sent us when the tide came in." And I was like, that's a weird thing to tell me. Okay, cool. And it's because when the tide comes in, you cannot get to the island because it covers the road. Um, we
Awesome.
managed. We
That's great.
managed. It was like so small that the whole island was their wedding. There's like th two or three B&Bs on the island, and it was just everybody, like they knew everyone on the island, and then they got married in the tiny little church, and then like the island was where they had their reception. It was just everywhere. Um, it's really sweet. It was a lovely, lovely time. Also, Vortex said he emailed Jeff to talk about Vanishing Land, so maybe we
Oh,
all
that's
go
great. Yeah.
and set up some stuff. That would be a fun little trip in February. What's it like in Massachusetts in February weather-wise? Is it awful? Because I
Hollywood
would,
would lead us to believe yes, but I don't know if
yeah,
that's true or not. It's a bunch of
because
liars.
because I gotta tell you what, it's not great here in the Chicagoland area in
Hmm.
February. Cold. Where Texas is cold. Did you guys get crazy snow in Massachusetts? I don't know East Coast weather at all. I've heard they have lovely falls,
Hmm.
but like the ocean's gotta mellow it out a little, right? Is that not true?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Seattle's got the ocean right there, but
Yeah, and you guys
it's
are
different.
more mellow than the Midwest.
Yeah, but I mean, like, California's got the ocean right there, and they aren't mellow. Summertime, at
Southern,
least.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've been informed. Vortex said that the snow can be a lot, but that fall is the best. But we would not be there in the fall, so we'll see. Frigid. Oh no, I don't like that frigid is how it's described. I don't
But
know.
then we could wear cool coats.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like
I have a
coats, like a
yeah,
good
I have
coat.
a pretty warm winter coat. Can you guess what color it is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very pink. It's like
Mhm.
super bright pink, super super hot pink. Can't lose me. Can't lose me in the snow. I find really interesting. This is off the topic of games, but I tend to dress in very bright colors. No, it's a surprise for you. But like even extending to my nails, like right now they are a rainbow of colors. And like there's a bunch of different colors in my hair, and everything that I wear is like happen to have a gray top on today, but like most of the time I'm very colorful. And the amount of like comments that I get from people that are, I wish I was brave enough to wear that much color
Hmm.
is always a surprise to me. I'm always like, I can't tell if is it a compliment? It sounds sad for you. Like that you really want to wear color and you don't feel like you can. Like, who is stopping you
Yeah,
from wearing the color?
just do it.
Or
Just
is
wear the
it
color.
like one of those backhanded compliments of like,
Oh, you're so
boy, I wish that
brave.
I
Yeah.
I wish I had your ability to not care about anything when you leave your house looking like that. That's a thing
hmm
that's
hmm Yeah.
happening.
It's so brave to leave looking that.
Happy? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that is,
I,
I mean, every time I have, because I always do crazy colors on my fingernails, especially. And everybody's like, oh my God, I wish I could do that to my nails. And I'm like, you can. They're changeable. Look,
getting them done, just pick a thing. Pick a
just pick a
color thing.
thing.
Yeah.
I have to decide what I'm gonna do for Gen Con is the next one. Like what sort of colors happen on my nails for next one.
hmm Do you have
Feels
any
like I should.
ideas?
I mean, I for the last couple of years I have done pink with a rainbow on my accent nail.
hmm
That has been like because it's sort of a signature while still being pretty neutral. I mean, they're like bright pink, but like it's not this. It's not a it's not a
Yeah.
full rainbow on my hands. Um, I don't know. What are you gonna get? Because you
Black.
always get your nails done too.
I
Just
get the
all
same thing.
black?
Yeah. I get them all black except for I usually do a pink nail on each hand.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that doesn't help me because it's the exact same
Mhm.
thing, and
Yeah.
I don't ever
Same thing
do
all
the
the time.
exact same thing.
Maybe you
Mm-mm.
should do all black.
No,
See,
definitely
that's
not.
the only idea I have.
Definitely can't do it. I don't like it. It feels too sad
Wow.
on my
Rude.
hands. I think it's great on you. You love it, and that's awesome.
Woof.
But like,
Woof.
it's too sad
Mhm.
on me. I want it to
It's too
be
sad. Oh, cool, cool,
brighter.
cool, 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 cool. I mean, in spite of the background and wardrobe currently, I also enjoy color, just not that much. It's so brave how you can wear so
It's
much
so
color.
brave of
It's
me
so
to go
brave.
out
So
with
brave.
all this color.
Mhm.
Oh boy. Yikes. Right. Well, I'm going to eat this chocolate covered cashew. Look at how big this cashew is. It's insane.
It's all chocolate. It's mostly chocolate. That's 90% chocolate.
Not 90%.
Let's find out.
Mm-mm.
All right. It's still big, I guess. I don't know. There's nothing else there for scale. So,
Of a normal sized person's hand, though.
no.
I mean, no, I do.
Your hands are
Vortex
very
said is
small.
50%. No, they're normal size.
Mm,
Look,
just saying.
I'm normal.
Yeah.
No, you are also being very rude.
Sarah, what games are you looking forward to this year at Gen Con? I know you're always buying new board games, new other games.
Oh,
What's on your list? Do you have anything on your list?
I don't know that I have anything on my list currently. Um, because I feel like I haven't had time to like check out what is in the offing, you know?
hmm
Um, but I mean, like last year I was really excited about the uh Great British Bake Off game,
Yeah.
which I got and I was very happy about it. Um, oh, okay. All right. Well, Board Game Geek has put something out, I think, about it already, about what's going to be there. Nope. 2023 preview is the only one that's out so far.
All
Oh
right.
wait, no, it's here. It's here. 2024 preview.
Yeah, what's on there? What you got?
Huh. Um, there's one called Color Field where it's a tile placement game
Hmm.
and you create an abstract painting. That sounds pretty cool.
Is that competitive?
Yes.
I
It
wonder
is
if it's
not
like
co-op. Like you do
similar to
your
like
own.
Go, where you're like trying
Yeah.
to like have take control of the board or
I
something
think
like
you
that.
might have your own canvas.
Mm,
And so you're each trying to do your own thing.
that's
It's
cool.
listed as a puzzle game. Um,
What about anything tabletop?
taking a look at what I'm very interested in, and it's already out, I think, but I'm very interested in Forgery by
Hmm.
Banana Chan. That looks
Hmm.
very cool, but
Hmm.
it is horror, which I have a problem in general, as we discussed many times
Yeah,
on the show as well. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I'm interested in that and seeing if there's a way that I can like adapt that to not be as scary.
I'm sure you
Like,
can. Most games are adaptable,
yeah.
take more or less of them. There's a
Yeah,
bunch of
there's
new
a big
Paizo stuff coming out too.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff on this list. Um, and looks really lovely. There are there are 500 games on this list of stuff that is going to be released for Gen Con. So that's
One of each,
pretty
please.
exciting. Give me all of them.
Yeah, just go down the list.
Is there anything that you are looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing the new things that are there. I know a lot of companies have a hard time getting like proper reach out to people. Like social
Yeah.
media is like a weird thing now.
Yeah.
Um, and and it's hard to get engagement and it's hard to get eyes on things. So I'm looking forward to going through and checking out the smaller tables that are there to see like what independent stuff has come out in the last year and what's good and what looks fun. There's like I said, Paizo's got new stuff that they're coming out with now that I'm probably not going to get until going to Gen Con.
Until
I
you
usually I
get there.
usually hit
Hmm.
hit the Paizo booth pretty early. Um, and yeah, I'll probably swing by like Indie Press Revolution to see what they've got.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
going to Indie Press Revolution because then you get to see all of the smaller games that are out, and I
Hmm.
found some really fun stuff that I have, discovered in that section.
Yeah.
Um, any new TTRPGs you were looking forward to, not just Gen Con, but coming up, or crowdfunding projects? Actually, there's one running right now that I'm going to plug because my friend David Nett is doing something called the Proudcore Fantasy. He has teamed up with Todd Stashwick, and their whole thing is like recapturing that feeling that you got when you were playing RPGs as a kid, and like
Hmm.
having the excitement and the joy and the camaraderie and all of that stuff. And so it's set in a world that he has been telling stories in for like 20 years with his friends. And it feels really appropriate for the sort of stuff that I do too. So, um, hey, you guys should check that out. I bet I could even find the thing. I know that we are
Yeah.
looking hardcore.
I also just backed second edition of the 13th Age
Cool.
books. Those are great. There's also soon to be coming out is the Shadow of the Weird Wizard. which is the follow-up to Shadow of the Demon Lord, where they took out a lot of the super gross things and like added a bunch of new stuff to it. Um,
Yeah.
and those systems, both 13th Age and Shadow of the Demon Lord, Shadow of the Weird Wizard, their mechanic systems are great. They're a good like if I'm getting tired of like regular D&D and I need to swap something up, but I still want a good fantasy setting, like those are usually the games that I head to. And so new editions of each are coming out, which makes me very
Cool.
happy.
Um, I just got Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast in the mail. It just arrived. It is so pink and I love it so much. Um, I'm very excited to dig into that. The book is just like big and fat and like, ooh, it's gonna be good. So I know that that is sort of has previously kickstarted, but that is something that I am looking forward to playing.
I just
Um,
got an order today. In fact, like I opened a box just before I came down here from Monty Cook Games because they're having 50% off sale because of D&D 50th for all of their 5e compatible stuff. So I went on there and a lot of the things on Monty Cook Games are dual compatible. So they work for the
cool,
Cypher system as well as fifth edition. And so if it works at all for fifth, then it counts towards the discount. And I just like
cool.
opened up a box of new stuff that I haven't seen before and then came downstairs to fill
I
this.
love
So
Monty
that's what
Cook
I'm going to look
games.
at
I feel
afterwards.
like a bunch of their stuff that they put out is great.
Yeah,
Um,
one of the books I'm most excited
really like
for
it.
is just called The Weird, and they kickstarted it a while ago, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
it's like 200 pages of tables that's
Yeah,
just weird stuff
just weird stuff.
that you could have in your game.
Yeah,
And then there's like a way to maneuver, kind of a choose your own adventure type of thing to like get through the book to get to the table that you're looking for. So you can like decide the type of weird you want it to be. And is it clothing or tech or magic or whatever? And then there's like different tables and you kind of filter through.
cool.
But it looks awesome. It's just strange stuff. And it's
Love
system
that.
agnostic because it's really just tables.
Yeah, is that the same one where it's the house, or is that a different one? I feel like there was one
That's a different one.
recently.
Mhm.
Okay.
The
Is that
weird
Monty Cook or
Kickstarter
is
was
that not?
last. It's also Money Cook. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um but this one I'm not sure when it originally kickstarted. I saw it on a Kickstarter that they had last year, and I'm not sure if that was its first appearance or if it's been
Mm,
around and they just, had it there as an add-on. But
cool.
I'm excited to dig into it.
Uh, there is apparently a new TTRPG called The Broken Empires.
Cool.
It's gonna be crowdfunding at the end of summer, hopefully. Do we know? I'm looking it up. Let's Broken Empires RPG. Open sandbox world. I like open sandbox. The RPG where your decisions are forged in the crucible of conflict. Hmm.
It's a good tag.
It's a D100 core system.
Oh.
Interesting. Wow. I mean, the art on here looks really lovely and the maps and stuff. I'll have to check that out. Cool. Um, yeah, where else like I think I also would like to talk about the expansion that we have coming up for the Vanishing Lands that Jeff
Yeah.
and I are working on. We just started working on it, but Alice in Wonderland is now in the public domain, and so we are working on the Vanishing Wonderlands, where we are taking both Alice's adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, and we are turning all of that into a setting for you to play in. So we're creating like a land that has vanished. But it's a little bit more in depth than I think what we have done in the past. We're going to be like breaking down basically both whole books and then putting that out, and we're able to use all of the art because all of that art from the original editions is public domain as well. And so we can be like, it's, Alice or it's the Queen of
Hmm.
Hearts or it's whoever,
Hmm.
and it's all going to be sort of broken down with art and all that stuff. And hopefully gonna get that out soon. I don't have a day. We don't have a timeline. Um, I like to say timelines, but I'm not gonna say it right now because I would get us in trouble. Because I'd be like, it's gonna come out immediately, and then Jeff would be like, what are you doing? We're not ready. Um, but you
Is
can go
that
to thevanishinglands.com, I
is that
think.
kind of the plan for Vanishing Lands moving forward? Is to do a bunch of different lands as expansions?
Sort of. I mean, I think we have a couple of other things that he is interested in doing. We have discussed the possibility of doing sort of a hack for it where you could turn it into a solo journaling game
Hmm.
um called Vanishing Alone. Because the lore of the land of the Vanishing Lands itself is that like sometimes it's the whole city or land, whatever, that disappears. But sometimes it's not the whole place. There are times when like it's only half of the city. And so we started to sort of expand on that idea. And I said, like, well, for example, like pilots disappear, and like
Yeah.
maybe just the plane flew through whatever it was and ended up in the Vanishing Lands. And so it wouldn't be difficult to turn that into a solo mode. And it would absolutely be like a journaling
Hmm.
situation.
That's great.
Um, and so it turns out that I have played a lot more solo RPGs than Jeff has. And so he was like, I don't even know where to start. And I've been sort of kicking it around, trying to figure out a way to do that. Um, actually had some ideas to maybe do a solo situation for the Crown as well.
Hmm.
Because I think, depending on what sort of what purview that you choose, that it probably would make sense that there are some that like function better not
Hmm.
in a pantheon of gods.
Hmm.
Um, I think it would be kind of interesting to have that be something that like where you are writing things down for basically for like Axiom's library in some
Yeah, I
way,
like that. It would be a good
Um,
excuse to expand the Oracle deck as well, because so
yeah.
many of those solo games play with a deck of cards.
Yep.
We've got 10 so far. Um, and then there's heaps of other locations and people and things like that, which could be further cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely done ones that are from like a tarot deck, a standard tarot
Hmm.
deck. I've done ones that are with a standard deck of like playing cards.
Hmm.
Um, I've also done ones with dice that just have like a bunch of tables and stuff that you can go with. So I think it's going to be a one of those things where the setting is going to help, I think, determine how
Yeah,
which one of those makes the most sense.
cool.
I don't know what it is yet, and it might not be the same thing for both of those games, but
Yeah, you got to kind of write to the setting,
yeah,
though. It's hard doing really like a totally agnostic, both either setting or system.
yeah, agreed. I just think that there's a lot of lore and a lot of cool things,
Hmm.
and I think it would be great for literally all games to have a solo option because I just feel like, as we have discussed a lot, it even came up during the stream that like one of the issues that you have about playing games is that scheduling is terrible. And
Yeah,
so the more games that and I don't mean solo as like, I know that some people have said, well, there's like a solo option of with one player and a game master, and I'm like, no, 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 like
Just one, just you.
I'm going to be both. I got to be both because
Yeah.
I think that there's less. You always are with your schedule always lines up with yourself, but like that's hard. Once you add anybody else in, I think
Yeah.
there's too high of a chance of like
Yeah.
I can't do it. Um, but we'll see how to do it. I was just like looking around and I'm like, I have all of those things. I have several sets of tarot cards and I have a couple
Mhm.
of regular sets of playing cards. And then like there's all my dice. I'm like, I got all these. I just have like a bag of dice that I don't use. I have
I mean,
this.
most people probably do.
No, but this is like my non-sorted dice.
It's a
I have
lot.
a okay, okay, but listen, because I have this. This is my sorted dice, except for the ones that are too big to fit in. And then whoop, and then I've just got a bag of like, oh, I don't really like those dice.
Mhm.
So they're not sorted. And sometimes I give them away. If I have to give away any dice for any reason, that's the bag I take from.
I have one set of dice that I have been using for 20 years, and that's it.
I feel like that's not true. You have more dice than that.
They all fit into the same bag, though.
Oof. Vortex said he has thousands of dice sets.
I
That's a lot.
like the concept of dice sets very much, and I could spend lots and lots and lots of money on
But you
them,
don't use
but
them,
I'm
is
never
what
going
you're
to use
saying.
them. Yeah. Well, I
Okay,
also haven't
that's
really
fair.
bought many because I know I'm going to use the same set that I've always been using because it's my
Hmm.
favorite set.
Hmm.
And so like
hmm
I can buy more and then do nothing with them.
hmm
I want to
Um,
like use more dice, but I feel connected to those that one set, you know?
no, listen,
Yeah.
that's if that's what you're gonna use, then you should use that. That's not, I just really like dice.
Yeah.
They're like pretty. And they're one of the few last things I feel like that I accessory wise
Hmm.
can get. I do have to show off though. I did just get this in the mail. And it is a little hand dragon.
It's adorable.
Look at how cute he is. I like him. Boop boop boop. Um, I ordered it forever ago and I forgot that I ordered it. And then
Yeah.
it arrived at my house one day and I was like, oh, and he's just like little and cute.
Yeah. It's adorable. I like it. Is it
You could get,
comfortable?
yeah, I was like, I feel like I could wear this at conventions and still do stuff because it
Hmm.
doesn't impede,
Hmm.
but I would end up just like making him talk and stuff the whole time.
Well, and if you were playing the crown, you could have a little flat leather dragon puppet as a familiar.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then you could just have that while you played.
Yeah, I would be making him like talk to people around the table though.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a problem for you as my storyteller while I'm playing the crowd?
No, we play virtually, so I can always just like turn
She's
your
gonna
camera
she's gonna
off.
mute me.
Just gonna mute you. Yeah.
That's funny because I am in traditional Zoom meetings for those, so I don't think you could do that.
Mhm.
That's all right.
If I can't hear anyone, I can't hear you either.
You're
So
just gonna
just mute the
drop
whole
out.
thing.
I'm just
Just
out.
gonna
I'm
leave.
out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that seems like a drastic step, but like,
It's a valid and measured response.
okay. Um, should we give away a copy of The Crown? We only got about like 18
Yeah, let's
minutes
do it.
left.
Let's do it.
Um, is there anybody else? I see more people in chat. Do we want to? Does anyone want to get in on this situation before we give it away? Is anybody else going to be active in chat? Should I just give it to my dragon?
Dragon's pretty active.
He's very active.
But I
Has a
feel like
lot to say.
you have plenty of copies of the crown at this point.
Yeah, but the dragon doesn't have any.
That's true.
I do like that it has a little mouth. Like my little finger can stick out of it. Boop, 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 boop.
Oh,
Here we go.
here we go.
Things are happening in the chat. La 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 la.
Bink.
Beep, 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 beep. Mm-mm. It was Vortak. Vortak has been so active in the chat.
Hmm.
Vortak gets to have free copy of the crown. I know that you backed it, Vortak, but I feel like there's got to be somebody in your network that you could give it to. Do, 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 do. He's not a plant. You're not. I would never accuse you of such a thing.
Yeah, he's a
Although,
regular meat-based person.
regular person, but if we ever do need somebody to come into chat and feed us a bunch of great questions to answer, I'm definitely going to message you and be like, hey man, I got a thing coming up. Come ask me a bunch of questions. Um, boop, boop, boop. Yeah, also, I just started my own Discord server.
Oh yeah, you
So,
did.
so y'all should the the 20 or so folk in chat, if you are not already over there, you should definitely come hang out. It is a slow build, but we are getting some stuff up there. Um, and I would love to have you there. Let's see. I know you're there, Vortak. I know you are. I see you. Um, but I should get a little, should put the invite in chat. How about beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep. How do I do that? I know how to computer,
Hmm.
right?
That's what you are best known for, is
In,
computer.
invite people. Here we go. I'm going to copy
There it is.
that, and then I'm going to put it over here. Boop, boop. And come hang out in my Discord, and we're going to do some stuff. Um, all right. Well, we've got about 15 minutes left. Damon, why don't you tell me where we can find you and what you
Hmm.
have coming up?
Okay. Well, you can
Okay.
find me on the internet sometimes.
If you could dial it in just like the tiniest bit, just like narrow that down for us,
Well, you can find me on socials on the internet. Better?
which are what?
So for me, it's just my name. It's at Damon Vanhee in the various places. But for all of the things, The Crown and Formerly Feral Games, you can go to formerlyferalgames.com. It's got all of our socials listed there because there's a lot of them and they're weird and they're not uniform, so I'm not going to remember them. But on the website, that's where
Excellent
they are.
attitude.
Isn't it good? It's too many to know.
It's
Just go to
it's so good.
formerlyferalgames.com. They're all right there.
Okay,
And
okay.
then what do I have coming up? Well, on Wednesday, I'm going to be running a one shot of The Crown on Table Takes, which will be
Yes.
here on
Table
Gen
takes
Con TV
plays.
plays. That'll be Wednesday night at whatever time it is, 5 p.m. No, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Correct.
That's me. That's what I've got coming up. And then, other things, conventions. We talked about that stuff. But I think that's my
And
next stream thing.
and then also on the arc on Sarah's table.
Yeah, but you're going to cover that when we get to Sarah's table stuff. I'm not
Okay.
going to steal I'm not going to talk about your games and your table. Anyways,
Right.
I'm going to be
Okay.
here
Right.
on Sarah's table,
hmm
playing
hmm
the Crowned as well. I'm going to talk all about it instead of Sarah. I'm going to be playing the God of
hmm
Salt. We are playing
hmm
the highest level game you can, playing Divinity Rank 5. Um, and we're just going to throw around a lot of Aether and rip things in half, like the city.
Just rip things apart.
Rip them apart.
Yeah. It's just so much destruction. And I'm sure that that will have no consequences. Um,
None. Consequence
for
free. It's a
the
one shot.
it's not a
Maybe?
one shot.
Oh, never
It's
mind. I
it's a
won't go
three.
with
It's a
the
three shot.
well, it's one story. Yeah. It's
Mm,
not an ongoing campaign, but if we return to these characters, I will have made a huge mistake.
yeah, yeah. So hopefully we return to them because that will be interesting. Hi. My name is Sarah Moore, and you can find me all over the internet at Pixies and Pins. My website is pixiesandpins.com. And then you can find me here every Friday night on Gen Con TV on Friday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific for Sarah's Table. Next week is the first play episode of a three-episode arc of The Crowned we already chatted about. Um, Tomorrow, Saturday, July 6th at 6 p.m. Central, I'm going to be over on the Playmats channel, which is twitch.tv/the Playmat, to do a one shot of The Crowned. I am introducing it to a group of four players who have never played before. So I am building them up. Hold on. The gods that they have are just a bonkers group.
Hit me.
Let me go over to the thing. Okay. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da. Okay, so we have the god of time, the god of dogs,
Spice or linear reality?
Time,
Great.
time, dogs, serendipity,
Hmm.
and terror.
Wow.
So
That's great. And
that's
those
gonna
four
be a
also
thing.
have never been played.
Correct. We did have the God of Terror as an NPC in our home company game,
Yeah, that's true.
but he didn't do a lot. He was just there and scary. He was a prop more than anything else. So excited to see what happens with these guys. So that is tomorrow, and then on Sunday at 6 p.m. Central, I'm going to be over on twitch.tv/Winter's Tales to do another episode of Thirsty Sword Lesbians. This is going to be the last episode before a mid-season break because we have so much coming up with Gen Con and everything. Half the party is trapped in the Feywild. The other half is trapped outside of the Feywild. The queen is stuck in a mirror. Bad things are happening.
It's a mess.
Come,
They got
come
themselves in a
check that out.
mess.
So it's such a mess. And then I'm gonna go be the adorable mouse Naylin Huckletuck on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Pacific. No, 9 p.m. Central. It is very late for me, and I get very tired at that time. Yeah, and then I don't know what else is happening. Other things. But I'm gonna be over at Gen Con and I'm doing a Sarah's Table live there. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of things. Come find me. I will be the one in the giant floofy rainbow. So, a very strong brand.
Yeah, that's how you don't get lost in the crowd.
You'll be able to find me. I mean, I'm pretty short, but very bright. So it'll be fun. Yeah. Thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's very fun. And we can chat about what's what's a happening with our game and our game company.
Yeah.
Like talking about stuff. Um, Thank you to everybody who participated in chat today and all of the rest of you who just hung out and like just were with us. That was also delightful. Thank you to Marcus for running this all today. Um, he is silently behind us. I see his chat icon just there being quiet. Um, Thank you to my partner Jeff for prepping all of my overlays and everything. He actually just told me today that he is in the process of giving my overlays like a little update. He's doing
Little
a
zhuzh.
fancier thing with them. So I don't know when that will happen, but that's on the horizon. I think he's just tired of me like in our pre-recordings being like, and then all of the fancy stuff in the background that he's doing. That thanks, Jeff. Because then he feels really called out. He was like, "Stop doing that. I'm just gonna make it nicer together." Um, yeah. I'm thinking of because these look like little Polaroids. I'm thinking of trying to have a Polaroid camera with me that does little Polaroid minis at Gen Con. That maybe if people find me they can come and get a little pink Polaroid with me like you would do on the show.
Adorable.
It will look like this. Beep, beep, beep. I don't know. Anyway, come find me. I'm great. Maybe you say my name 3 times into a mirror and then I show up and run a game.
How that works.
That's what I heard. I mean, that's how I got here today.
You keep crawling out of mirrors one way or the other,
I
so
know. I know. Is that a problem, do you think? Mirror-based travel?
I mean, not for me because I know better, but
Sure, 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 sure. Feel like if there was a way that we could make that happen, though, how great would that be? That you could just like travel between mirrors.
mhm.
That'd be good. That's
Would
how
they need to be
ghosts
big
can
enough?
travel. That's how ghosts can travel in Dead Boy Detective Agency. They
Through
can
mirrors.
travel between mirrors
Mhm.
through mirrors. God of Mirrors, also good. That would also be good.
Yeah. All
Anyway, it
right.
hasn't worked yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. All right, well, hey, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Thanks for
All right. That's it. It's over.
I think we did it. Thanks for hanging out with us. I will be back here next week. We're gonna do some big, high level God shenanigans that will probably have no far-reaching implications. Sure, it's
Nope.
probably fine. As always, keep making art and keep being art. We will see you next time. And then we just do a little dance. Beep, 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 beep. A beep, a beep.